What if you could take control of how Google represents your business without being a tech wizard or spending a fortune? In this episode, you'll learn how to take the mystery out of SEO, fix Google's mistakes, boost your online visibility, and even attract new customers, all without paying for ads. Whether you're new to digital marketing or you've hit a plateau, this conversation with SEO veteran Andrew Laws will show you how to get unstuck and start growing your business online on your terms. So Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Candy. Nice to meet you.
Welcome to Biz Help for You, the show that saves you the expensive learning curve by providing advice from industry experts in every facet of the entrepreneurial journey. Too many small businesses collapse. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 20% fail within their first year, and less than 35% make it to their 10th anniversary. The goal of this podcast is to change that statistic. So if you're interested in learning more to be a successful entrepreneur, tune in today.
I'm definitely glad to have you here, and thank you for joining me. I know a lot of people get so confused with SEO and, profiles and all of the things, and we want to make sure we're seeing, and often we're putting all these things into what we should be doing so that Google can find us, right? But you're saying Google isn't always reliable. So I would love for you to explain why you feel that way and how does that affect us as small business owners?
Well, it can affect you in quite a big way. Google, unless you go and tell Google exactly what you're doing, when your open hours are, what's brilliant about your business and who you want to speak to, they'll just have a guess. Now, Google's not very good at guessing. Google's ability is about that of a 2-year-old, really. And sometimes if you don't tell them the key information, they'll just go, I reckon it's this. So with this, I'm primarily talking about Google Business. So the little profile that you can set up by going to business.google.com and entering your details. Because if you don't do that, or if you've done it and you don't check it, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you a story. Don't worry, it's a very short story. I'm going to give you a really good example of how badly wrong this can go. So the office I'm in here today, I've been here for many years, but I used to have another office and I bought something quite valuable and I accidentally got it shipped to my old office. Oh dear. So that's all right. I'll look on Google and I'll see who's there now. And I typed it in and it came up with a company name. Then underneath the company name in Google, in the little right-hand box, we call it the knowledge graph, it said permanently closed. And I was like, oh, no. I said, my parcel's gone somewhere and it's gone to this business, which is permanently closed. They've gone bust. And it was quite a valuable thing. So I thought, I'm going to hop in my car and I'm going to drive over to the next village where my old office was and just have a look around. I thought maybe I'll find the parcel just on the doorstep or on the roof or, I don't know, somewhere. So I drove over to this business that Google was declaring permanently closed. And Candy, what do you think I found when I got there?
Probably a business open, ready to serve its customers.
I found a room full of people at computers, happily chatting away and tapping away and doing computer things. And I spoke to the receptionist and who put me in touch with the managing director, jolly man, who came out. Hello, how can I help? And I said, oh, this used to be my office. And we did the polite chit chat thing. Then he handed me my parcel. And I said, do you know what? I said, when people look for your business, Google's telling them you've gone bust. It's telling them you're permanently closed. And he went, yeah, I know. I said, well, it's quite easy to fix. They said, oh, we're not that bothered. And I thought, oh my goodness, there's this whole room full of people doing all these things to keep the company going, looking after their clients or customers. And yet the managing director is saying, we don't care if Google's telling people we're shut. So I thought that's kind of scary, but that's how badly wrong it can go. That's the worst. In a far simpler way, if you have a business where you rely on people coming to you, so if you have a store or your counsellor or anything that requires human beings to come to you, if you don't tell Google when you're open, again, they'll just have a guess. So it's absolutely crucial.
That's very strange, though, that it would think that it is permanently closed. So someone must have given information or something, and maybe it was even attached to you somehow at that address, and then they put it on that new customer or business that was there. It's just kind of interesting how they did that. But it's important then, like you're saying, to make sure you're checking periodically. So do you have a recommendation for, business owners? Like, how often should they really go back into their profile, make sure everything is accurate? Obviously, if there's a holiday coming up, maybe put that in there too. But, how often should they really be reviewing their profile?
Well, Google's answer would be every 2.5 minutes. But as with Google, Google makes very high demands. The Googles seem to think we all have a lot of time on our hands just to like doff our cap and go, okay, the Googles, what do you want us to do now? But that's not the truth. So the best thing to do, the easiest way, is just to get the Google Business app on your phone. Doesn't matter if you're using an Apple phone or an Android phone, just get the app and allow notifications. Because going back to one of your previous points, random members of the public can suggest updates to your Google Business profile. And if once somebody suggests an update, Google, the little app, will just ping in your pocket and it'll go, somebody's suggesting here that you're no longer a veterinary surgery, you're now a mine shaft building company, or something very silly like that. But if you've got the app, then Google will tell you. But you mentioned, how did Google think this company was permanently closed? We have come across situations where rivals have reportedly and repeatedly told Google that our clients are out of business. And it's frustrating because Google will go, oh, is that right? Oh, okay, we'll tell the world they're shut. Based on nothing, based on like very gossamer thin information. So, yeah, get the app, keep it in your pocket or wherever you keep your phone. I think phones are too big for most pockets now. But the second side to this is a more useful side. Everything I've talked about so far is about damage limitation and stopping Google from telling, let's say, telling lies, telling fibs, telling accidental mistruths. The other side of it is, if you've got that app, or if you're at least used to going to business.google.com to check on things, while you're there, take a moment to make a post. So in Google Business Profile, you can post. You can say anything you like. Google's desperate to have their own social media platform, and they've never managed to do it. But you can make a little post, link to one of your latest blog posts, add a photo, just do something. These are all things that with Google Business Profile, the more effort you make, the more rewards you'll get. But I would say in reality, even the perfect scenario, I wouldn't spend more than half an hour a month on updating it, really. Unless your competitors are like super on it and your competitors are posting loads and loads of times every day. You've only got to be marginally better than your competitors. You don't have to be the best in the world.
So when you use that story of this business saying, on Google it was permanently closed, but it wasn't, if they had wanted to update that, how do they actually go and change that information? Is it just going into their profile and making an update and Google will be like, oh, they're active? Or do you have to do something very specific to tell Google this information is incorrect?
The key thing you said there, Candy, is if you've already got access. So if you have the ability to log into your profile, if you've taken the few minutes it requires of you to connect to your profile and claim it, then it's quite easy. Google will say, we're being told you're shut. Is that true? And you go, no, it's not. Silly Google. We're not closed at all. Look at all the people. Look how busy they are. But if you've never claimed your Google Business Profile and a bad actor tells Google that you've gone out of business, you've got a little bit more of a battle on your hands, because you then have to claim your profile at the worst possible time to claim it. Because Google already thinks you're dead. It'd be like trying to cash a check that someone sent you if the bank thinks you've died. You'd be like, no, I'm here. I'm still here. Can you cash my check? I don't know why I'm using such old examples. I haven't been sent a check in probably 15 years. Yeah, so if you've not claimed your profile, that's the most difficult time to do it. It's like the old cliche. They say the best time to plant a tree is 100 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is right now. So anyone listening to this who hasn't claimed their Google Business Profile, the best time to do it was years ago. The second best time to do it is now. The third worst time or third best time to do it is when you're trying to rescue something. So when you're trying to
Mhm.
correct Google because they've got something wrong.
Mhm. So you were mentioning too, if you have the app and posting something periodically, linking to a blog. So I assume that's, one way that you could keep your profile active. Is there, some recommendation you have in terms of how to actually improve it so that it's being seen better? If someone is searching, is it just keeping the activity up? Like, what do you recommend in terms of actually improving their business profile and having hopefully a better ranking when people are searching?
There's many things you can do. My recommendation is, again, have a look at your competitors, see what they're doing,
Mhm.
and just do a little bit better. I mean, they will then figure out you're doing better, so you'll then have to do better. But in my experience, it doesn't spiral out of control too quickly. I would say at an absolute bare minimum, upload a few photographs of your business or of your products
Mhm.
or anything. Just make sure they're your photos. Don't use AI. Don't use stock images. The reason for this is that a lot of solo entrepreneurs or business owners have their registered address as their home. I mean, I do, a limited company, but my registered legal address is my house. So if I didn't upload pictures to my Google business profile and people look for my company, Google's going to show them my front door. I don't want lots of people to see my front door. Let's say that's a relatively easy one to fix. The next thing to do is look at the description. When you've got access to your profile, it's a really simple little box, and just make sure it explains your business in a way that would make sense to somebody you've never met.
Mhm.
Because something else I find in the 25 plus years that I've run my own company is that most business owners have had so many conversations with the people around them, they forget how to describe what it is that makes them so brilliant. Whatever it is that makes your business brilliant, put it in that little box. Put it in the description, because that's going to be a lot of people's first impression of you.
Mhm.
The real power tip, you asked about how to appear higher when people are searching for the things that you do. The real golden tip is to ask for reviews.
Mm.
When you've claimed your Google business profile, there's a little set of icons that come up at the top of the screen in Google when you look for your company name, or if you go to business.google.com. It says, get more reviews. And when you click on that, it gives you a super magical little link. Send that link to your favorite clients and customers. And when they click on it, they'll get taken to Google, and the whole page will black out. There'll just be a little box in the middle of the screen where they can give you a star rating and write a review. It makes it super, super easy, really easy. The problem with Google reviews is if you say to somebody verbally, somebody in your shop or during a client meeting, hey, I'd love a review, even if your client adores you dearly, they're going to sit at their computer and go, oh, how do I do that? But if you grab that little link, makes it super, super easy for them.
Mhm.
There is another little tip. I keep adding these tips on. I don't mean it to be
Yep,
like a
perfect.
mountain of tips here, but
No, it's
we
good.
we've done quite a lot of research with our clients and the broader world, as we do in this industry, and we've found out that if you send an email to somebody asking for a review, or you hand them a business card with the review link, if you say to them, could you do me a personal favor and leave me a review, they're far, far more likely to leave a review. What we sometimes recommend is if somebody's got a lot of employees, they can say to the people they're working with, their clients, their customers, look, this is super cheeky, but I'm hoping to get a pay rise from my boss soon. I've written my name on the card. Would you mind leaving a review? Because that could make a real difference to me. It's one of those lovely things that I find Google tends to be very impersonal because it's dealing with a massive amount of data. It's the world. That anytime you can make it more personal, and anytime you can just make that human connection with somebody, it'll actually help you get further in Google results, especially in Google My Business.
Nice. Well, when you were talking earlier about you didn't want your front door, to show, and so show pictures of your business or service, or products that you sell or things like that too. And I was thinking, there are a lot of businesses now that are remote and they're service based. So they don't have an office space. They don't want their front door to show if it is linked, to their home. So like what type of images do you recommend that they upload then to be part of their business if they don't have an office building or, they don't have an actual product to demonstrate? What can they do?
There's many different things, but there's only one thing that I could really recommend. If you were my client, Candy, and you were asking me that as my client, there's only one thing I can recommend, and it's to find a local photographer who takes good photos and say to them, look, I want 6 to 10 photos of me going about my day. Me sitting in an office. And it doesn't have to be your office. I mean, I've just done this with a photographer here, and they took me outside, and I ended up standing by a truck and holding a skateboard and all sorts of things. But it doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be a stock image of you pointing at a computer screen or someone behind you with a clipboard. Or avoid all that. We're entering, especially now that AI is such a big thing, we're entering the age of authenticity. And I didn't invent that phrase. It's something we'll start to see more of in the press. And where all your competitors, who also don't want their front doors on Google Business Profile, where they're all posting dull photos, show yourself, show humanity. But just, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a professional photographer even. As long as the pictures aren't terrible, as long as they're not like you in front of a bright window so that it looks like you're giving evidence in a mafia trial, as long as you're not doing that, just allow your humanity and your personality to shine through. Because if people are buying from you during the research phase, when they're trying to decide who to buy from, they're not only going to find you, regardless of what you do, they're going to find your competitors as well. And most people would love a friendly face. So do you, basically. Don't try and like, I'd never wear a suit because I'd look like I was preparing for an appearance in court or something. But, just be you. Do what feels right.
Okay, perfect. Well, and you were talking about reviews and asking people, to go ahead and review you too. And I do know a lot of times people feel like, yes, I'm going to do that. And they get busy. And I think a lot of times they think too much about, well, what should I say? I don't know, how to like write this review. Some people are really good at it, but some people actually feel intimidated. So do you have a suggestion on, what the person can tell their customer about saying, do you recommend like, oh, well, tell us where you were, before you were working with us and kind of the transformation you had? Like, what are the tips maybe that we can give to the person who's saying they will, but they might be putting it off because they're not sure what to write?
If you're finding that your clients and customers aren't leaving reviews, however nicely you ask them, then have a think about how you ensure your clients and customers understand the value of what you're doing for them. So if you're, say, a plumber, so you stood there, you're in a cupboard fixing a boiler, and then you go, right, I'm going to leave now. Can I have a review? And then you go, and we're like, what was that? They're not bought in. They're not made an emotional connection. If you talk to your customer while you're fixing the boiler, I wish I hadn't chosen that as an example, but we'll stick with it. I'm committed. And say, hey, look, there's something really interesting about your boiler here that you might not know. Or, right, well, normally when we service a boiler, we do these things. But I thought, as I've got an extra couple of minutes, I'm going to do this thing. It's all about finding a way of ensuring your customer understands that you've gone above and beyond what's expected. Which you should be doing for all your clients and customers anyway. But if that's a part of how you naturally speak to people, when it gets to the point when you ask them a review and you ask for it as a personal favor, they want to give you a review because you've built a relationship with them. I'm not talking about being all kind of smarmy and like manipulating them into giving a review. If you're running a brilliant business, then they should love leaving you a review. They should like, right, I'll do it right now. I've got one person I know who does say to people, well, I'll show you how easy it is. Grab your phone, and they've got like a QR code on the back of their business card. Like, tell you what, go grab your phone, and I'll show you how easy it is. That's it. So just point it at my cup. That's it. It's popped up. Right. So I'm not going to embarrass you by watching you leave a review, but I'd really appreciate it if you just get it done now, because I know how busy everybody is, and I know the kids are coming back from school soon, and I know you. So you can. I think that's a little brutal. But it depends on your personality. If you're the sort of person who has no problem with making an ask of someone's time like that, do it. Do it. You're not going to, I don't think you're going to offend anyone.
Mm-hmm. I think that's part of what people have to overcome, though, too, is actually asking for that. A lot of people are afraid to ask. So do you have any tips on how, they can overcome their fear of actually asking for that?
Candy, I'm British, and therefore we're all terrified of speaking to each other. You sit on a bus or a train in Britain, complete silence. We're not comfortable speaking to people that we're not related by blood to. So to get more comfortable with that, I would say think about how you've helped that person. And if you are a contractor, or in the trades, as we'd say in this country, or in fact, it doesn't matter what you do for a living, if your work with that person has made that person's life easier, better, more profitable, wouldn't it be nice if you could speak to more people that you could help become more profitable, make their lives easier? By asking for a review, you're helping yourself, but you're also giving other people the opportunity to be helped by you. It's not an entirely selfish thing. There are so many people out there in some industries who are the cowboys. I would just want to make a quick buck. Just make a quick buck. Don't care. Just get it done. By you running a brilliant business and genuinely caring about people, if your clients leave you a review and you find other people you can help because of that review and others, you're doing a good thing. Either that or my mum would just, "Oh, just get over yourself. Just get over yourself and ask."
Right. And then on that theme of reviews too, sometimes people leave negative reviews, and I know people get frustrated with that, and some people might want to react and say some negative things back, which is not a good idea. But I would love for you to just talk about how they can handle them so that they are showing professionalism but still acknowledging that maybe there was an issue.
First of all, I love negative reviews for two reasons. Negative reviews give you an opportunity to learn. A lot of people are just polite and they'll say, "Oh, we had a lovely time," even if they didn't. And those people are more dangerous than people bad-mouthing you online. The other thing to bear in mind with bad reviews is that the occasional bad review makes you a lot more trustworthy in the eyes of the public. Research has shown that if people have perfect 5-star reviews anywhere, or 10-star or whatever, and there's no negative reviews, people don't believe that so much as some bad reviews. I bought a new television a couple of years ago, and I decided what model to buy, and I did the research, and I looked on Amazon because I wanted to look at the reviews, and I started by going to the worst reviews. Thought, this is good, this is good, this is going to stop me spending so much money on a television. And the worst review said, "Delivery driver was really rude." And I was like, that's not really anything to do with the television at all. But it just goes to show that, okay, well, these reviews are human. They are real. Also, the reality is, if you get bad reviews, either do better so you don't get them. That's not always possible. Or overwhelm them with good reviews. If you've had a couple of bad reviews and you're still worried about asking people for a review, now is the time to get over yourself and start asking. Bad reviews are not a problem. In terms of responding to them, there's two schools of thought. If you can't do it without getting really angry, ignore it. Don't reply. If you can be kind of quite magnanimous, if that's the right word, then say, "I'm really sorry that we didn't meet your expectations. We try really hard, but we're human. We don't always get it right." This goes back to this age of authenticity thing I mentioned a minute ago. Mankind has moved on. We're not expecting angels all the time, but we would like humans, and humans make mistakes. It's not the making a mistake that's the bad thing. It's how you deal with it afterwards. I did a test with a local pub here, and we developed something. I won't go into details because it's a bit technical. We developed what we call review funnels. So instead of just going straight to somewhere to leave a review, you get the option to say whether you had a good time or a bad time. If someone says they had a good time, they get taken to leave a review. If they say they've had a bad time, they fill in a form and the message goes back to the business owner. So the owner of our local pub, the steamboat. I don't know what I'm telling you. There's not going to be much crossover. I'm not advertising them because I don't think your listeners are going to trek over here. But anyway, it all worked fine. Everyone left great reviews until one day the pub landlord got a message saying, "I think your staff are outrageously rude." I came to the bar and I was left waiting there, and I didn't get served. After 10 minutes, I gave up and left. So the landlord, Andy, his name is, I might as well give you all the details. He rang this person up and said, "Look, I've just seen your message. I'm so sorry. We've had a couple of staff who've had the flu, so we're a bit understaffed. But I tell you what, can you come back? If you come back to the pub, just let me buy you a drink just to apologise." And they did, and they left that time and left a really good review. If the owner of the pub hadn't dealt with it in that way, that person would have steamed and they would have kind of got more annoyed about it, and until they were, left a bad review. So bad reviews, I love them. They're an opportunity to do things better, but they're also an opportunity to show you're not a robot.
Right. Exactly. Well, I know you also talk about SEO and how important that is. And obviously, Google is the one that most people search on anyway to find things. So is there a way that we can improve our own SEO to be found easier when people are searching?
Sure thing. It all comes back to how good your business is again. SEO can't conjure brilliance. It can only amplify brilliance. So if you've got a good business and people love you, what I tend to say, ignore all the technical stuff for now. Think about the questions that people ask you just before they buy. So there's questions at the beginning of a buying journey where people are trying to establish if they have a need. And ideally, you want to write about those things as well in the future. But for now, if you want to make the biggest advantage, the biggest positive change to your website and your SEO, write about the questions that people ask you just before they buy. Everybody should know. Everyone, and if you're a big enough company, you've got salespeople, go ask them. If they go, "Oh, we don't know, we just have a chat," give them a pad and a pen and say, "Next time you sell something, write down what was the last question they asked." Because you start answering those questions on your website and you're adhering to what Google wants you to do. The only thing Google really cares about is how helpful your website is to the world. So that's the easiest way to start. People in SEO will tell you all kinds of crazy technical things, but no, be human, answer questions. That's it. I've just summed up my 27 years of SEO in one sentence.
Perfect. Well, that sounds like a great tip, right? Just to be able to share some more information on there, which hopefully we're sharing details that will help our clients. But just like you're saying, think about the problems or the questions that people have and just answer those questions, and that will help. So I appreciate that tip too.
Absolutely.
I know we're coming close to the end of the time that we have together. So I wanted to ask, do you have an offer that you would like to extend to our listeners, and how can they connect with you if they want more information?
Sure. My offer is please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you search for the Business Amplifier, you'll find the videos that we make. Videos are aimed at entrepreneurs who have an interest in marketing but might perhaps have got stuck. So we've got some beginner tips, but on the whole, it's for people who really, really want to grow, really want to know more. But you just search for the Business Amplifier on YouTube or any podcast platform and you'll find us there. Apart from that, have a look at my website, which is yeseo.io, which is YESEO.io. And there's only one other Yeseo in the whole world, and she's a K-pop singer. So if you end up on a website with some really good music on, it's probably not ours. It's probably the other one.
Right. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. Well, thank you for being a guest on my show, Andrew. I've really appreciated the conversation that we had and the tips you've shared. You've given a lot of great information today, so thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I've had a lovely old time.
And to the listener, if you enjoyed today's topic and you want to hear additional information, you can find access to exclusive content in the show notes. Thank you for tuning in today. Would you please share this episode with those you know and leave a review on your favorite platform? And if you find our show informative, would you consider being a financial sponsor to help me continue my mission to educate business owners? A link is located in the episode description, and no amount is too small. I'd really appreciate your support. If you are interested in connecting with our guest and receiving the offer they had to share, a link to our resource page is in the show notes. Finally, if you have any bookkeeping or payroll needs, reach out to us at 310-534-5577 or contact@abandp.com. My team and I are eager to assist you. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Biz Help for You. Please join your host, Candy Messer, again next time. Have a terrific day.